Hello, this is the third tutorial. In this one, we're going to go into more depth in how to modify walls, windows, doors, and roofs. So let's look at walls to begin with. You'll see I've thrown in a basic 300mm masonry wall right around this space. So what we want to do now is to break up the spaces internally with a corridor. So let's select our wall tool again. Instead of the 300mm wall, we're going to select a slimmer 123mm partition. Don't worry if you don't have all of the same wall types. These can be downloaded and set up independently. So we're going to start here and create an entranceway that leads to a corridor. Just going to use this to enclose the space. You can click to the center of the wall here. You can see it's highlighted. It's just a simple case of click and click at each end. I'd like some additional walls also to break up some of these spaces. So I'm going to create a wall across here, a dividing wall, and another here. I'm not very precious about the positions. As you can tell, I'm just estimating the positions at the minute. I'm just going to click the blue dot at the end of the wall here and drag that across to complete that. And I'm going to introduce some doors. Similar to the original door, we just have to click to place these. And I'm happy to go with the 915 door here. As you can see, the swing of the door is affected by what position your pointer is on the wall. So I'm going to come to the inside of each room. I'm going to place these doors. And I'm just going to click modify to escape that. So now we've set up dividing walls with doorways. These can be modified as we need. For instance, this corridor looks quite thin, so I'm going to select that. It currently is 1200 from the center of the wall to the center of the wall, but I would quite like 1200 to be close to the dimension internally inside these two walls. So I can just click on this dimension here. I'm just going to add an extra 200 to create a little bit of additional space in the corridor. Now that has automatically pushed this up because this is the wall that I've selected. Had I selected this wall, when I changed the dimension, it would have pushed this wall. So that's how you can very quickly modify your internal wall positions. Each wall has a series of settings. As you can see, these walls are displayed without any hatch, whereas the external walls have been hatched. If you want to change that, I can demonstrate that. So I'm going to select this wall. And this is the wall type that relates to. I'm going to go to this button, Edit Type, in your Properties toolbar. And in the Graphics tab, you should see Core Scale Fill Pattern. That is the pattern that should fill the wall. And I'm going to select one from this pop-up, and it's a diagonal crosshatch. Just click OK, apply, and now that's been applied to all of that wall type. Now there might be a scenario where we don't want to do that, so I'm just going to Control Z to undo that change. Alternatively, you could also use the undo button. And this time I'm going to say that this is a specific type of wall that's different to others. So when I go to Edit Type, instead of changing this wall type, I'm going to duplicate and hit the duplicate button. And I'm going to put a name, let's call it Hatched Wall. Okay. And now I'm going to modify that so that it shows with the same hatch. Click OK. Now we've created an additional wall type with all of the properties of that wall type, except for one thing that's changed, which is the hatch that should display on it. So that's how you would modify walls. And at any point you can select a wall and change it to a different type, and it should automatically adjust. Whenever you select a wall, you should see quite a few different options on the side. Things to note, the base level. We are working from the ground floor of this building, so level 1 is what that's called at the minute. The offset will affect whether the wall begins at that level or above it or below it. So if I was to go to, let's create a section to demonstrate this. So I'm just going to select the section tool from the top, drag that tool across, and now you'll see that there is a section line indicated. I'm going to select this wall that it intersects with. I'm going to give it an offset of, say, minus 150. So that means minus 150 below level 1. Click enter. That wall will now have been modified. You don't have to click enter now. I could have done there is simply click into the empty space again. The top offset. The top is currently up to level 2. But I could add an additional overrun of that wall, so it could go another 500 mil higher. I'll do that, and I'll click apply. Alternatively, if you click in this space, it does seem to apply it as well. And now, if I open my sections in the browser on the left, that new section is automatically being created. And as you can see, there is a wall that has a 500 mil overrun above the other walls up into level 2, and an offset of 150 mil below level 1. Obviously, it doesn't make much sense at this point to do that, because we'll have a concrete slab underneath the building. So I'll reset these both once that's selected, and in section you can also modify it back to normal. So that's how you would modify walls to get the desired result. There isn't much more to the wall properties to think about right now. One thing you may wish to display is the build-up of a wall. Currently, this wall is shown as just a single hatch. If we were to click into space, the floor plan properties will come up, and there will be a detail level by which everything is displayed. Currently it's set to coarse, but if I was to set it to fine and apply that, now further detail should be displayed. Now in this case, the wall type may not have that setting, so I'm going to open the wall type for the 300 mil masonry. I'm going to look at the structure by clicking edit, and as you see, it just has a 300 thick concrete structure. What I'd like to do is insert a couple of structural elements. First one I'm going to give 100 mil thickness to. I'm going to change the 100 mil thickness, the 300 to 100. And then I'm going to have an additional 100 in between. So basically I've broken the 300 mil wall into 3 parts. One part is going to be an air layer. So let's just set that is air, and that the other 2 are structural. Sorry, it's just taking a second to process this. That's going to be structural. And it's trying to determine how to visually display the material of that. But I don't want to, so I'm going to cancel that. So the structure, 100 mil each side of a 100 mil cavity. It's not very realistic at the minute, but it should display better than what we have. Click OK. OK. This wall now displays like a cavity wall with 100 mil either side of a 100 mil void. So it has a more realistic visual style. And at any point in this view, we can reset the detail level on the right in the Properties tab to Coarse again, and it will no longer show that depth of detail. I'm going to leave it with the detail for now because it looks good visually. And we're going to move on from walls.